On today's wrestling news, WWE's emergency meeting about the Vince McMahon return.
Tony Khan responds to Vince McMahon's WWE return.
We've got a massive Royal Rumble match announced.
And William Regal is set for a WWE SmackDown role.
Are you ready? Are you ready for the news time? Yes, my name is Phil Chambers and I'm joined by Gareth Morgan for the first news video of us two in 2023. That's definitely a thing. But before we get into it, make sure you like the video, comment down below what you think of all of today's stories, subscribe to the channel, and links to each story is in the description. Click the timestamps and off you go. But first up, WWE. Vince McMahon's returned. I don't know if you've noticed, but yeah, just a little thing happened yesterday. So he's back in WWE, and obviously they had this big all-staff meeting, like Zoom meeting thing that they held yesterday. Now we've got reports from both PW Insider and Fightful that have gone through what happened on the call. And so I'll just run through it all. Basically, it was only for employees at the minute, so no talent. So no like outside contractor people. So just for all of the employees within WWE, it was Stephanie McMahon, it was Nick Khan. They're still the co-CEOs, and it was the president and CFO Frank Riddick who were on the meeting. And they basically went through and said that there's going to be no changes in day-to-day operations. They stressed this point. Obviously, there's a lot of speculation about how much Vince McMahon is going to be taking over control now that he's back, but they are stressing that there is no changes. Remember that, because it'll probably change, I assume. Triple H, for example, is keeping his title as Chief Content Officer, and all of that kind of management side of things is going to stay exactly the same. They presented it all in a very positive light. Obviously, they're not going to go in and say this is a negative. And the whole idea is to ensure that everyone is on the same page when it comes to the company's future, which means that the board will be looking at a potential sale before they begin the negotiating for the rights for the TV. So the TV deal is up in 2024, I think, for both Raw and SmackDown. And they are set to start the negotiations at some point this year in order to get it all in place for next year. So before that happens, they're going to be talking to people about a potential sale. It does not mean that a sale will happen. It just means that they're going to see what offers are out there, and it should not be assumed that a sale will happen. If it appears that a sale is the more lucrative path, then they will take that before signing any TV rights deals, because that'll be up to whoever buys the company in the future. And different possible avenue is to take the company back private again, which is an interesting thing. That's something they would be willing to do, apparently, if it turns out to be the best outcome for the shareholders. But the final say on all of this will be down to Vince McMahon, obviously, as the controlling shareholder. That's how he managed to force his way back on the board. He's got a whole ton of shares. They did not take any questions at the end of it, and the whole point was just a big sort of rah-rah meeting. It was described as to kind of raise the spirits of people. Obviously, a little bit worried about the turmoil that is to come with Vince McMahon forcing his way back onto the board. So in case you missed the news, Vince McMahon is back on the board of directors. 3 people have been kicked off in order for Vince McMahon, George Barrios, and Michelle Wilson to come back. George Barrios and Michelle Wilson, Vince originally brought in to negotiate the TV rights deals when they first did the gigantic Fox deal. And then they also were in charge of creating the WWE Network, which was then deemed as a failure, which is why they got fired. And now he's bringing them back. 2 other people have also been ousted, one of which was the person who was heading up the investigation into his sexual misconduct. So get out, you! We don't have any space for you anymore. Which leaves 9 people on the board, 5 of which is Vince McMahon, George Barrios and Michelle Wilson, Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. 5 people that he can have complete control over their voting powers, one would assume, leaving him with a complete overall negotiating power on the board and control of the entire board. So whatever Vince McMahon would like to do, he is going to do.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Wow, that's, yeah, I mean, nothing surprises you at this point, does it? Because this is perfectly in character.
2023.
It really, and it's just, I don't know, you get such a feeling of deflatedness, if that is a word, like just looking at this news, because it's like, it felt oddly, disturbingly inevitable, and it has done for a couple of weeks now, ever since that latest Wall Street Journal report came out, when it was saying that, yeah, he's plotting his great comeback, and the fact that he's just worded it in a way where it's like, oh, everything's going to stay the same as what you like right now ever since I left, but it's going to all change, really, because I've got full control. It's just a reminder. It feels like a flex, just like I'm still here, and I can come back whenever I want. I can do whatever I want. I've got all the power, and it's... I don't know. I wouldn't say it's not been a complete change in everything like when it comes to WWE. Like the actual content on television's been a little bit better, but it's not just been a wholesale everything's changed now. Vince is gone. Let's just ignore that he ever existed. It's not been that. Yeah. Like you're kidding yourself if you think it has been. But there was this hope, and it now feels that hope is it's just been crushed under his big old boot as always. And
whatever it is, the stocks seem to like it because they're going up to the highest price since April 2019. Absolutely shutting up. But that is more to do with the aspect of a possible sale rather than anything else. But still, it very much feels like a guy who says, well, if I can't play with it, nobody can. I'm going to get rid of it all.
And the fact is just that they've even reiterated in that meeting that, this big amazing sale, stocks, it might not happen and it probably won't happen. It's like...
It might just be a ruse to get back on the board and then we'll be in control.
And somebody who at least kind of poked a bit of fun in it and I don't know, helped build up his own program in a strange way when it comes to all this madness was Tony Khan, because he obviously heard about all this and just thought I can fire a cheeky shot. He loves it, doesn't he? He loves just firing a few across the ocean straight at WWE. I don't know why I said across the ocean. They're not on different continents, but you know what I said. And he went on Twitter and he said, everyone at work is being so nice to me these past 24 hours. I wonder why. It must be belated holiday spirit. And then he proceeded to build up Rampage and Battle of the Belts. He's just a cheeky little devil, Tony Khan. I love it.
He likes his Twitter, doesn't he?
He does.
He loves his little tweets.
He does, and I don't know. Again, it's a strange feeling, all this, because it just feels like we've regressed 6 months suddenly, and I've lost that time of hope and happiness again. It's just very sad.
Yep, there's bound to be a hell of a lot more that comes from this, so stick with us over the next few weeks. But I mean, originally when there were talks of like rights deals coming up, there was talks of like massive partners like Disney and Netflix and Amazon kind of looking into the rights fees, not just your usual TV people. And so then if you like throw in the aspect of a sale in this as well, and the possibility of people owning their own media rights now in a world where all of the kind of streaming platforms are so divided and desperate for ownership, there's a lot of potential out there for WWE in terms of a possible sale or just making a whole heap of money the next time the TV rights deals come through.
Well, you do.
But whichever way that goes, we're going to have to wait and see.
You say that, but it's one of those things, again, if one of those massive companies, those Disneys, Amazons, all these huge like conglomerates and everything else, look at WWE and thinking of doing business with them, are they going to want to be seen to be doing business with a company that's just got this figure who's just had all these sexual misconduct allegations levied against him and then suddenly kind of brush them all off, laugh them all off and go, I'm back, baby? Why would you want that public perception? So if anything, again, for me, it just feels increasingly unlikely that it is going to happen. So there's me pouring water all over it, and I just want to get on with my day and talk about the Royal Rumble. Yes.
We'll wait and see. At least he didn't show up on SmackDown last night, so there's some positive at least.
Wait till next week, Phil.
But speaking of SmackDown last night, some things got announced. So it is going to be at the Royal Rumble for the Universal Undisputed title, whatever the hell it's calling it these days. Who the hell knows at this point? Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns. And obviously, Owens teamed with Cena last week over the sort of big holiday special thing and beat Zayn with a stunner after Cena had kind of knocked Roman out of the way. So Reigns came out last night on SmackDown. He claimed that he didn't lose. He wasn't the one that got pinned. It was goddamn Sami Zayn. And he was very unhappy that Sami Zayn kind of called the shot and then failed to produce for him. He was very angry at Sami Zayn last night on SmackDown. He was accusing him of wanting to be the tribal chief, really running through him. Eventually, Kevin Owens came out, obviously, and he was like, well, your problem isn't with Sami, it's with me. He challenged him to a match at the Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns accepted it's going to happen with a bit of a flashback to 2021, which was, of course, Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens at the Royal Rumble for the Universal Championship, which Roman Reigns won, obviously.
Yes. Handcuff shenanigans, that's what that was. Handcuff shenanigans. It was a fun old time.
So we're running it back, but this time far more interestingly, because this is a much better story than it was last time. So yeah, that's the match. That's the big match at the Royal Rumble. We're going to have to wait and see what happens with the Sami Zayn aspect of all of this, but there's wrinkles appearing in the bloodline. But we also got announcements for the Royal Rumble matches themselves. I say announcements, there wasn't a huge amount, but it's going to be Kofi Kingston and Ricochet for the Men's Rumble have been announced so far, and Liv Morgan all on her own for the Women's Rumble has been announced so far. And then, of course, we've got the Pitch Black match, which Michael Cole kind of hinted at some rules for it, which there are no rules, basically. It's whatever it is, it's going to be weird.
Yeah, and I'm here for it. It made me laugh then, because the way you worded the Men's Royal Rumble, it sounded like it was just going to be Kofi Kingston versus Ricochet. And that's it. That's it. Whoever throws you over the rope, they win. Way! And then The Rock comes out and just like rock bottoms everybody. This is great. It feels like we're finally getting a bit. It feels like we've been a bit directionless. I know like there have been like seeds planted over the last couple of weeks for certain things, but it doesn't feel like we've been heading towards anything properly. But I feel like now, with the turn of the year, next couple of weeks, we're really going to start putting some pieces in place for that Rumble. And I'm excited. You always say it. I always agree. It's the best. It's the best of the year, innit? So it's a very exciting time. But sticking with SmackDown, big piece of news when it pertains to Mr. William Regal, who is currently still with WWE. We'll see what happens over the course of the year. Obviously, with that story at the top of this video, but
maybe
he's
regretting that decision right now, but maybe not. He might be fine.
A little bit. He might be fine. He's got Papa H to hide behind as a human shield at this point. So PW Insider have claimed that the beloved Brit, Mr. William Regal, he was actually on hand last night to work behind the scenes for SmackDown. He was helping out with the broadcast. Obviously, he cannot appear on camera because that's part of his kind of conditional release from AEW. When like he just can't pop up until I believe it's 2024. So throughout the rest of this year, you're not going to see Regal popping up on TV unless WWE are really cheeky and they do like a behind the scenes video or something. You just see him in the background going, "Wee," I don't know. It might be something like that. But it looks like he's set to become, or at least take up a position as an executive vice president within the company, which is pretty cool thing for Regal. Like it's a pretty high up job again, just seeing what happens in the next couple of months. That could be very good. And whether he's this role of like working behind the scenes on SmackDown extends to Raw remains to be seen. Obviously, it could pop up like behind the scenes on Raw like Monday when that does go down. So we'll see what happens. But I just like William Regal getting really into the thick of it behind the scenes with WWE again, and any experience and advice he can give and like offer for SmackDown, all the people working behind the scenes at SmackDown, is going to be absolutely priceless. And Triple H has probably made a good call, having him there in the gorilla position, which is where he should be.
Absolutely, yeah. The upside of having William Regal around is absolutely massive. He has so much knowledge and things that he can impart. He has a hell of a lot to offer any company. Just the Vince McMahon aspect of this. There's going to be a lot of people a little bit nervous right now in WWE, especially a lot of the people that specifically Triple H has brought back since the Vince McMahon thing. It's a little bit of uneasiness probably lingering in the air, so we'll have to wait and see for this. But yeah, only the best for William Regal because he deserves every bit of it.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. But let's finish off with your Twitter questions. The first one comes from Mark Solid, who says, "Morning Legends, what's one match within a match that you would want to see in this year's Rumble?" He would want to see the Bloodline and Judgment Day or Imperium face off, any of those little three. And he really wants Dom versus Sammy, which would be quite entertaining. But Solo versus Gunther is his big one, which would be Solo Sikoa versus Gunther would be amazing.
Yeah. I feel like we've seen that. Have we not seen that on NXT? I feel like I've just dreamt that up. I don't know why. I don't know why. We've seen Gunther go get somebody like that in NXT. I don't know. It's just come into my mind. Mine's again Gunther, because you just want to see him chop people, don't you? Like, it's just one of those things. And if he's not going to have a match with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, which obviously was the plan at one point, we'll see what happens. I'd like to see, if it does happen, if we do get an electrifying return, which was hinted at in a poster by BT Sport, go and check it out. If we do get The Rock's return at Royal Rumble, I want to see Gunther just chop his abdomen, because I'm a sick son of a gun.
The Rock. He would never lay himself up for Gunther's chops.
No.
There's not a chance in hell.
He'll have no choice, Phil. Whoop, okay, that's me gone.
For me, it's everything with the Bloodline and how they interact with each other within the match as well. I think is going to be really, really interesting to watch. But yeah, you're right. Like Solo Sikoa going up against like loads of big names, I think is a really interesting little thing. I think he's going to have a really good showing in the Royal Rumble. But The Rock versus Sami Zayn would just be, it'd just be really funny. Like, I don't know what to do together, but whatever, if that happens, The Rock and Sami Zayn gets in the match at the same time. That would just be so good.
The Rock and Cody, do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. That's just, what a stare down.
Face off.
Yeah.
Like a little face-off, and then like some heels come and attack them from behind, and they have to like work together for a bit, and then go back to the face-off. Like one of those things. There's so many things that can happen with the Royal Rumble like that. Like little intricacies. I just love it so much. It's so good. Very much looking forward to it.
Can't wait.
But speaking of very, very good things, the next question comes from Kyle, who says, "Hello, champs. Simple question. Favorite part of Omega Ospreay?"
Oh, so 6 1/4 stars, I believe it got. Dave Meltzer.
6 1/4.
Wow.
And they were holding back.
They were holding back, Phil. It's
apparently.
We were having a bit of a conversation before we came on air about this, and I literally had a moment after I watched that where you just sit there and you go, I think that's the best thing I've ever seen in a wrestling ring. I don't think I've actually ever seen anything better, and I really enjoyed the moment. Personally, because again, just a sick guy. I liked the bit where Omega got Ospreay's head and just started ramming it through a table. It was, I described this to people afterwards, to people who don't like wrestling, and they were like, no, well, it's obviously gimmicks. And I showed them the clip, and they were like, oh.
Yep, that's a Japanese table.
It just saw the little bits of the table break off as he jumped. Oh, it was just, I loved it. Not even all the flippy stuff, just violence. It was great.
Mine was going to be exactly, well, the ending with the same bit, but the DDT on the turnbuckle thing was just like, they're setting it up, and you just think it's going to be some absolutely nuts aerial move that Ospreay pulls off, because that's what he does.
Yeah.
And then the way that Omega just reverses it, and then just chucks him straight down onto the turnbuckle. Oh my God, looks like they absolutely died. And then that leading to the just smashing his face into the table. And just how stiff, like just a V-trigger. Like it's just, like how can you take that move and just make it that stiff? And they just absolutely beat the hell out of each other.
Holding back, Phil. Holding back.
Holding back as well. Holding back.
They're going to break it
back at some point.
They're going to break the system.
I want them to make this best of 3.
Yeah.
Have Ospreay beat Omega at some point this year, and then win it back at Wrestle Kingdom next year, like for the IWGP title or something.
We could maybe even see it on an AEW pay-per-view this year. Like, that's not outside the realms of possibility, and I'd love that.
Kenny has said that he wants to defend the title in AEW.
Yeah.
He's also said that he wants to face Hiromu Takahashi at AEW, and that would be another absolutely nuts one.
He needs to stop. Like, it's a weekend.
Baby.
We're a weekend.
Omega's back.
We need to just calm down, Phil. Okay, this is too much.
If you haven't seen Omega versus Ospreay, though, by the way, go out of your way.
Just treat yourself. Just treat yourself.
Incredible.
You deserve this level of wrestling. It is unbelievable. And yeah, I've not met a single person who's not said it's one of the best matches I've ever seen. So.
Yep. And speaking of treating yourself, the final question comes from Nerdy Existence, who just says, "What's your favorite non-wrestling show to watch?"
Wow. Okay, swerve. I don't want to go.
Watch anything but wrestling.
I know. I was literally in a moment there. I was like, what else do I watch that never stops and's on weekly, apart from Coronation Street? I don't know. I'd say what I'm currently watching right now, it's probably not my favourite of all time, but I'm really enjoying it, is The Bad Batch. It's the Star Wars animated series, kind of spin-off from the Clone Wars, centred around like I'm a bit of a Star Wars nerd. Yes, we've got a channel, Phil. Okay, it's what we do, and I'm enjoying that. It's really great.
Welcome to Star Wars on YouTube. Go subscribe.
Check it out. It's lovely animation, and the story's quite fun if you're into all your Star Wars stuff. Just a little like avenue of Star Wars, and it just scratches that itch for a little while before the next big live action thing or movie comes out. So go and check that out. What about yours, Phil?
Favorite TV show of all time is Frasier. It's just the best TV show ever. 11 seasons of pure wonderful joy, better than all the other things that you like. So go watch Frasier. Is what I'm saying.
That's what I love about our videos. Very subjective.
Very subjective. Let us know down in the comments below what you thought of Omega Ospreay and what your favorite TV show of all time is. Let's get some recommendations going. Why the hell not? And follow us over on Twitter and let us know over there as well. You can follow me at PhilMyChambers, and you can follow Gareth. GMorgan04. I forgot where I was for a second. I'm not used to somebody team me up. It's been a couple of weeks, Phil. You can follow all of us at WhatCulture WWE. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Comment down below, like I say. Share the video. Ups and downs for Rampage and SmackDown is coming later on, and Battle of the Belts and things. Busy day. But most importantly, have yourselves a bloody good day. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.